Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back. It's a nice cold day here in Kansas City, so I'm gonna drink some coffee. This morning works through some challenge labs on Bug Forge. Um, I'm thinking I'm just gonna go through this past week up to today and just hang out a little bit, talk through a couple of the labs, and just have some fun with it. All right, so let's jump in. Um, let's see, stop this one. Um, let's start with Sunday. So Sunday was Cafe Club 003, and this was we're given the hint on this one that this is a file inclusion vulnerability. So let me go ahead and get signed up. Normally when I do these videos, I usually already have accounts created and logged in, but um, it's a little bit difficult when I'm just going through multiple labs in one video, so just bear with me. 123 Main Street and 555 1234. Okay. All right, we've got our coffee ordering supplies. We can add to cart, check out, do our order. Now, if we come over here and look at all of these requests, we see that the images are being fetched in this way. So um, it's using a query string with a file parameter. So since we're given the hint that this is a file inclusion lab or a file inclusion vulnerability, I want to send this over to my replay. And anytime on these labs, anytime we're looking for a file or anything like that, it's going to be named file.txt. Um, so the first thing I'm going to try is just try to access that directly, and it's not found. So now I'm just going to try to traverse up a directory using this dot dot slash notation. That isn't found. Hmm. Well, it helps too if I'm looking for the right file. It's not file.txt, it's flag.txt. That was my dumb moment for today. Hopefully that's the only one in this video, although I doubt it. Okay, there we go, and we get the flag. Um, so keep in mind for these labs, they're meant to be easy. They're pretty straightforward. It's really designed more to get people interested in web application security, get them started in web app pen testing. Um, they're not meant to be overly difficult or convoluted or anything like that. The weekly challenges are a little bit more difficult and involved, but the daily challenges are meant to be easy. It's really more about getting repetitions and just continuously doing work and getting to understand the vulnerabilities a little bit better. So as we go through these, if you're saying, "Wow, these are really easy," yeah, that they are. That's the intent, and I think it's a good thing. So that was Cafe Club, the file inclusion lab for Cafe Club. And close out of this. I am going to clear out my history. Okay, and then let's see. Monday was Cheesy Does It 005, which is a logic vulnerability. We're given that hint when we log in, or after first blood, the hint appears on the website. So when I say we're given the hint, that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't appear until after somebody's gotten first blood on the lab, though. For the sake of this video, I'm just telling you it's a logic flaw. So tester one, password 555 1234 and 123 Main Street. Okay, so the first thing that jumps out at me um, on this site is this discount code. So when I see this, the first thing that I'm thinking is potentially a race condition if if there's any kind of delay between when you put in the discount code and when the um, order is processed. So um, potentially looking at, can I apply this more than once before the order is actually processed? So let's just add a pizza to the cart and just go through the checkout flow and just see what it looks like. Okay, so that was pizza 10. Okay, so because of how this flow is working, I'm thinking that it's not a race condition. Uh, if the discount code had been applied a screen before the checkout, I would say maybe. Um, but it's sent with the order, so I don't think this is going to be a race condition. Um, but what I do want to do is I want to look at the request. So let's go up here and find the post request to API orders. Okay, and just see how this is set up. Okay, so here you can see the discount code is applied here. Um, what we can do is we can see if this will accept any other kind of data type besides a string, and see if we can send multiple discount codes within this request. So what I want to do is I'm going to send this over to my replay, go back over here and get another pizza into my cart. Okay, so instead of going through the checkout flow there, I want to go back into here. I want to copy this, and instead of a string, I'm going to pass an array with multiple discount codes. So for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to pass 3 and see if it works, and we'll go from there. So now if I send the checkout, we see that it did apply all 3 discount codes, and we get the flag. So um, anytime you're testing an application that has a checkout functionality with discount codes, those are things that you want to look at. You want to look at potentially race conditions. Um, if there's any kind of a delay between when you enter the code and when the code might be checked and when the code is used, um, when the order is submitted. In this case, we're testing to see if we can send multiple discount codes in the same request, and in this case it works. So that was that lab. Let's see what's next here. Let me clear this out. Delete. Close out of that. Stop the lab. Okay, so the next one was for Tuesday was Tanuki 002, which is an XXE, an XML external entity injection lab. And this is a fun one. I enjoyed this one. So let's open this up and get registered. Tester one. Okay. So we've got our flashcard app. And the interesting thing with this lab is this import deck functionality right here. Um, so what you want to notice is this note right here, only JSON and XML formats are supported. So this is telling me that we can upload an XML um, deck or upload a deck in XML format, um, which we could potentially abuse to get an XXE injection working. So they give us a sample JSON deck, but they don't give us a sample XML deck. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to download this. Yep. Save it to downloads. And then I just want to see what this looks like, and we'll just modify it manually. Um, so if I upload my deck, excuse me, we can see that we've got a sample deck here. Okay, so let's look and see what this request looks like. Um, so this is the request you want, this API Dex import request. And if we come down and look, you see it's a multi-part form request. We got our file name, content type, and then we have the content, the the contents of the deck. We got a little tongue tied there. So what I want to do, since I want to be able to send this in XML, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change. So if I send it to replay first before I try to edit. See, I told you it wouldn't be the only dumb thing I did on this video. So I'm going to change the file extension to XML, and I'm also going to change the content type to XML. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to delete that for right now, but what I want to do is I want to come over and I want to search for payloads, all the things, XXE. Let's just look at this. Go to classic XXE. Okay, so this is what we want for this lab. Like I said earlier, anytime we have anything like this, whether it's a file inclusion, an XXE, anything like that, anything that requires reading the contents of a file, um, we're most likely going to be looking for flag.txt. So I'm just going to copy this payload out, come back over here and paste that in. Okay, so now what I need to do though is um, I need to create my deck. Um, so let's just do a deck tag. Um, and if I remember right, we had a name, a description, a category, and then cards. Okay, so your name, test, deck, description, and this is where I want to put my entity reference. So basically, what we're doing here is we're declaring, or we're putting in our own um, doc type definition here. So within that, I'm declaring an entity test, which is reading the contents of the file etc passwd. So within my body here, what I want to do is I want to uh, put in the reference to that entity. And you see back on payloads, all the things, this is how it's referenced. So there's the ampersand file and then semicolon. So now if I come back over here in my description, I can say ampersand test category example. Okay, and then now I need to create my cards. So we can do cards, card front, test front, back, test back, and then I can close out the card, and then I can close out cards. And now I need to close out the deck. Um, so we can try this. Let me see. Almost forgot to change this. So um, I'm not looking for etc passwd. I am looking for flag.text. So let's send this. It said no cards uh, found. But let me see here. Let me see what this looks like. So it did import that, but it didn't give us our um, category or description. That's because I am missing a angle bracket on name. Let's try this again. Okay, now it imported the cards. So now this should work. Yep, and there we go. Okay, so I'm not getting the contents of uh, flag.text right here. I'm just getting that back. And what that's telling me is that um, it probably wasn't found. So I'm probably looking in the wrong spot for um, the flag.text. But if you look at um, this right here, what this is saying is I'm using the uh, file schema here, but then this forward slash is telling it to look in the root of the file system for flag.txt. So um, the first thing I want to do is I want to take that off. And what this is doing now is saying look for flag.txt in the current directory. So if flag.txt exists in the directory from which this application is running, it should find it. So now let me send this again, come back over and refresh. Now it found flag.txt and we get the flag. So that was pretty fun. I enjoyed this one. It was a little bit tricky, but I thought it was a good exercise in troubleshooting and uh, figuring out where something might be. Okay, so cool. Let's see. Wednesday was CopyPasta 04, which is a broken access control lab. So before we get in there, let's clear out history so that it's a little bit easier to see. Get a drink of coffee real quick before we go further. All right. So what I want to do for this one, I'm going to create two different user accounts for this one. This is what I like to do anytime I'm testing broken access control or insecure direct object reference or anything like that. I like to test with two user accounts. Um, one, because I don't want to do any kind of destructive um, activity on anyone else's account. I don't want to disrupt normal users of the application. I only want to test with my accounts, and anything I do only affects my other user account. It doesn't affect anyone else. It also gives me full control over both ends of the interaction, right? So, in cases where, there might be messaging between two users or anything like that, if I'm testing with two user accounts, I can test that way and I can see both ends of it. I'm not testing half blind. So, it's also good if you're um, testing for IDOR or anything like that. Um, Using two user accounts ensures that you know whether it's actually vulnerable to IDOR. So, say for example, you're only testing with one, and you try changing a user ID or any kind of other object ID. Um, you don't know whether uh, it might just not exist. An object with that ID might just not exist, or if it's really not vulnerable. But if you test with two users, then you know that other user ID exists or that other object ID exists if you're able to create a record using your second user, uh, and you want to test to see if you can access that record using your first user, then you know that it exists, and you know whether it's actually vulnerable or whether it's not. So that's why I like to test with two users. It's a good habit to get into. So let me come over here and I'm going to copy my registration request over here. I'm just going to change this to tester 2, send that. Now come back over here and I want to open this up in another container tab. I am using PwnFox with Kaido. That's what colorizes my requests. And the nice thing about that is you can set it to only proxy the container tabs and not all of the rest of your browser traffic. Let's sign in. Okay. So let me come back over here to my first user. Let me see. So this is the normal CopyPasta app. We can create a snippet. Hello world. And I'll just console log hello world and create that. So now can look through all that. It's the normal stuff. Um, if you look at the profile settings, this is the interesting part of this application. So within the or within this lab, right? So if we look in the user settings or in the account settings, we have a password change functionality, and we can change this to password 1. Say update password. Okay, now if I look at that request, let's see, put API profile password. If we look at this, we can see that there's a user ID passed with this request. Well, this isn't really necessary here because it's contained, the user ID is contained in the JSON web token. So this is where the application should be pulling that ID value from out of the JWT and saying, okay, this is the user ID that I need to apply this password change to. Um, this is this user only has the ability to change their password. They're not able to change any other user's passwords. So this is interesting to me when we see that there's um, uh, an additional parameter that isn't really necessary being sent with a request, especially a state changing request, like a password change. So um, what I want to do here real quick is just come back up here and I want to look and see what so remember the blue is my tester 1, the purple is my tester 2. So I want to look and see here what my tester 2 user's ID is. So their ID is 6. So I'm going to come back down here to replay and I'm going to try to resend this just to get a base here. And then I'm going to try, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to change that user ID from 5, which is tester 1, to 6, which is tester 2. Uh, and I'm going to send, and I get password updated successfully. So if I come back over to, well, actually, I can do that. I'll just do that here in Kaido. Let me send the login request here, and this was my original request for tester 2. Had the password, super secure. But I just changed that to password 1. Let me try sending this now. Okay, so that worked. I didn't get an error. Um, so let me come back over here Let me see. Maybe I need to do this in the browser. I think I think I do to see the flag. Tester 2, password 1. Sign in. Yeah, there we go. You successfully exploited the insecure password reset. So if I view this, I can get the whole flag. So it's right there. So um, yeah, just things to look out for. If you see requests that are sending unnecessary parameters, especially something like a user ID or a username or something like that, that's already contained in a token, or something like that, then that's definitely something that's interesting to poke at a little bit. All right, so that was that lab. Let me see, where are we at here? So we're up to Thursday. Sokudo 001. Find that. This is another broken access control. And this one is a little bit different. Clear this out. And then come back over and get set up on this one. I'm going to use purple this time. Something different. Test 1. Password. Password. All right. So if you've done any of the Sokodu labs before, it's the same type of thing. It's a typing test. Um, so the only impossible journey, the one you never begin. Not a very good typer, especially when I fat finger things. So if I look at my stats, I've got my words per minute, accuracy, characters, got a leaderboard, so on. So now if I look at these and I look at this is the interesting request right here, API stats. So the interesting thing here is that this is returning a bunch of JSON to me. All of my stats are returned in this JSON object right here. So what I want to do is send this over to replay, get my baseline here. And then what I want to do is I want to copy this. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change this to a post request. And the first thing I want to do is change the content type from a URL encoded to JSON. So it should be application JSON. And then come back down and just paste this in here. And I'm going to change my average words per minute to 1,000 words per minute. So let's try this. Okay, so I get a 404 not found, but what I'm actually getting here is an error. So this could have also been a 405 method not allowed because it's telling me I cannot post to API stats. Well, remember that there are other methods that we can use um, that accomplish something similar to post. Usually, a post is used um, when you're um, adding something. A lot of times, when you want to change something, it may be a put or a patch request. So I'm going to try a put request here, and we see that that worked, and we get the flag. So what's happening here is um, the application uh, access controls are not um, applied across all uh, HTTP methods, right? So I wasn't able to post, but I'm able to put uh, data back into the database um, using a put request with no access controls on that request. So there's nothing checking to make sure that I should be authorized to change that data. Um, and that's why it's a vulnerability, and that's how we get the flag on this one. So let me clear out of here. Does that bring us up to today? It does. Yeah, it brings us up to today. Um, so today's lab, um, let's see. Settle, kitty. Settle. She's hissing at somebody. Let's see. Which one are we working on? Shady Oaks Financial. So this is actually a fun one. This is a race condition. Remember, I was talking a little bit about race conditions earlier. Um, this is a race condition, and I'm going to do something a little bit differently for this one. I'm actually going to solve this on the command line without burp. So remember, I mentioned Kaido doesn't have a batched request feature, so you don't have the ability in Kaido yet to send requests in parallel, and you don't have a turbo intruder type plugin available yet. I know they're working on it, but it's not available yet to be able to um, send multiple requests in parallel or in a single packet uh, to exploit a race condition easily. So, what I wanted to do is demonstrate how to do this on the command line uh, in order to solve the lab without burp. So, let me come up here, get set up. Get my account registered here. Okay, so we've got our stock trading application. Um, so we can do different trades. We can buy, sell, get our portfolio. We can exchange money. And this is the interesting one. So what I want to do is first thing I want to do is I'm going to exchange from euros to dollars, and I'm just going to do 100 euros, which will give me $109. So convert. Okay, you see that took a minute. Um, so I don't know exactly uh, what the backend code for this app looks like. I'm guessing that it's probably something like this. Um, so one, check if the user has sufficient funds in the original currency. Convert and apply the converted funds to the user's account, and then deduct that amount from the original currency. Um, Something like this. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but my guess is it's something like this. So if I come over here, well, let me go back to the app. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to change it back, but I'm going to change $50 which will give me back 45.59 euros. So that's converted. Now what I want to do is I want to find that request in Kaido. So it's this post to API/convert currency. And what I want to do is I want to get this in a curl request. So I'm going to go down to plugins. Let me find it. Where is it here? Exploit generator. Generate exploit. You want to go to bash curl. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come back over here to my text editor. And I'm going to paste this in this part. Now you notice there's a couple things that I have to add to this request, and then I'll explain the entire thing. So I'm going to do the TAC K for to disable certificate checking. I'm going to tell it to route everything through my Kaido proxy, HTTP 127.0.0.1 on port 8080. Okay, so that's all I needed to change on the curl request. So for the rest of this, this SEQ 50 to pipe to XArgs. So what this is doing, this SEQ 50 is just generating uh, a list of numbers from, I believe, 0 to 50. Can't remember if SEQ starts at 1 or starts at 0, but if we just do this on the command line, we can see kind of exactly what it's doing. So it's starting at 1 and it's going all the way through 50. So it's just generating a list of numbers from 1 to 50. And then if I pipe that into XArgs, all XArgs is doing is taking the standard input. So that's what the pipe does. If you're not familiar with Linux, the pipe takes the output of this command and sends it as input to this command. Okay, and I want to use the tac I, and all this is doing is saying replace the content. So wherever you see this these curly braces in the following command, replace the curly braces with what I got from standard input. So I can say echo hello, and then I put the curly braces there, and this should output a list of hello 1, hello 2, hello 3, so on, and it does. So that's what's happening here. So this is just taking the standard out from SEQ 50, piping it in as input to XArgs, replacing curly braces um, with that input. The tag P here is for parallel requests. I'm sending 50 parallel requests. And then just in my curl, I'm just, I already explained this, just disable certificate checking and then route everything through my proxy. So this should um, send 50 requests in parallel. Let me copy that, come back over here and paste that in. Now, when I run this, I should takes a moment because it takes a second to process. But you see that we're getting the flag on this one. So um, this was successful. Um, so if I come back over here and look and refresh this, so yeah, you see I've now got a whole bunch more euros than I had when I started. So I was successfully able to um, uh, exchange money. It's basically an infinite money glitch. Um, so I was able to exploit the race condition using that command line payload and got some extra euros. So that is that lab, and that pretty much brings us back up to where we're at. Um, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed working through all these labs. If there's anything that you want to see more of or want me to dive a little bit deeper into any one of these labs, I'm happy to do that. Just drop a comment down below. Um, I know I kind of went through these pretty quick. Didn't want to spend too much time on every single one of them, but I'm happy to dive in a little bit deeper if there's a need. But yeah, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.